Tangana, es el momento que esperaba Puerto Rico. Es la obra maestra Chris Masters, Chris Adonis, el retador al título universal Intelecto. 5 estrellas en ring. Y esto va a estar brutal. Chris Masters, Chris Adonis, my friend, welcome. It is an honor to have you with us in Lucha Libre Online. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm good, man. I mean, how can you not be good when you're the masterpiece, you're sexy Jesus, and you're about to be the Universal Champion come this weekend in Puerto Rico? All is well, Hugo. It's good to see you.
Wow, and I'm so proud that your talent will be displayed not just in Euphoria, locally in Pepin Cestero in Bayamon. I hope I'm saying the right building. The thing that I like is that it will be on pay-per-view on Fight TV, Spanish and English play-by-play. I wish I could have done it, but I'm doing TV that same day in Mexico. Having the opportunity of showcasing WWC, World Wrestling Council, worldwide in Fight TV, and having a talent of your category challenging the second reigning, longest reigning Universal Champion, Intelecto Cinco Estrellas, it's an honor for WWC and for us that have followed your career. A young champion, second longest reigning Universal Champion. You have the experience, but he's the local, superhero. You are his territory. Is that an advantage or a disadvantage for Chris Masters?
Well, obviously, this being in Puerto Rico is going to be like the home court advantage for Intelecto. So, that'll be a disadvantage to me, but definitely the experience and the strength and all of that will go to my advantage. So, yeah, he's got home court, but, again, I'm Chris Adonis and I'm of a certain caliber of talent. And I think either way, it's going to be a long night for him.
Yes, I am also looking forward to see the storyline developing in that match, because he has wrestled with great talent. I believe that you are the right opponent for him, because you bring not only the experience, but you also are a big guy. He's like a masked superhero, Intelecto Cinco Estrellas, and he is a legit heavyweight. And I think that two guys with your builds in the ring with the Puerto Rican crowd going, "Fua, fua," all that craziness of the aficionados in Puerto Rico. I believe that you have the opportunity to really make this champion. And I don't want to offend him, but I believe that he needs to defend the title against somebody like you that brings all this worldwide experience, ex-WWE superstar. You have held many big honors in the wrestling industry. Have you been familiar with Intelecto Cinco Estrellas? Have you done your homework checking him out, or how do you see this match happening the 20th in Euphoria and on Fight TV Spanish and English pay-per-view? How do you see that, Chris?
Well, I mean, as you know, I'm very close with the Colon family, specifically Carlito, but of course, Carlito's brother being Orlando, and then, of course, the legendary Carlos Colon. So with that being said, of course, I'm always familiar and aware of kind of what's going on out there. And that's how I was aware of Intelecto and how he was the second longest reigning champion of all time. So, yeah, I definitely, I have to do my homework. I've been extremely busy just coming off of a Europe tour, and then, just having a lot of work in the last few weeks. But this week is all dedicated to Puerto Rico, doing my homework and doing everything I can to walk out of Puerto Rico, not only the Stu Hart heavyweight champion, but the Universal heavyweight champion. I mean, imagine that, 2 belts for Chris Adonis. I love the sound of that. But I agree with what you're saying too. I mean, it's probably as much as he's done, and being such a long champion, still at some points in your career, there's checkpoints or there's measuring sticks. And quite frankly, I think outside of either WWE or AEW, in the wrestling world, I probably am one of the measuring sticks, being that I have the experience that I do. Like you said, I've got 20 years of experience because I started at such a young age, and there's not many guys in this business today that have that kind of experience and can still work. You know, we've lost, you know, there's a lot of guys who've either retired or, you know, they've, you know, took their last bump, but, you know, I'm still out there doing it. So I think, yeah, it's definitely going to be a measuring stick. It's going to be a big time matchup. I think the crowd's going to be wild. And, yeah, I mean, I definitely got to do my homework though, going into this. I still got a few days.
Big pay-per-view, Fight TV. You guys are gonna have a
Thriller
great
TV
house.
now, Hugo.
Huh?
It's Thriller TV now, Hugo.
Oh yes, yes, yes.
They just switched it.
Also the fact that the fans in Puerto Rico, they love you
Crazy.
because not just because of the talent. Chris Masters, la pieza maestra, la obra maestra, Chris Adonis. I mean, Puerto Rico loves you also because they have followed your brotherhood, friendship relationship with Carlito, Caribbean Cool, and it is in our profession, when you build that type of relationship with somebody like you and Carlito, I love to see pictures when you guys are together because in our business, wow, there's such a jungle out there, and to develop a brotherhood like you guys have done, it's fantastic. How did it started? How did this brotherhood relationship with Carlito started with Chris Masters, Chris Adonis, and the cool kid Carlito Caribbean Cool?
You know, we initially met in OVW, but we didn't really become close there. We were just acquaintances. And then in WWE, when he moved over to Raw, sometime shortly thereafter, we started traveling together. And then coincidentally, WWE, I think they may have seen that, but they also wanted Carly to kind of somebody with experience to be with me. So they just kind of started pairing us up and having us team. And there was kind of just a natural chemistry between us. Like there was a good dynamic, good back and forth, and a lot of good, you know, comedic stuff. And, you know, we really clicked together. But I will say that I think we even became closer than that. Like we became good friends, pretty good friends there. But I think once we were out on the indies together, you know, once we had both exited WWE and kind of went about that, that's when we really kind of cemented our relationship. You know what I mean? We kind of realized, kind of at that point, we just realized we had a lot in common. You know what I mean? We liked a lot of the same stuff. So, you know, there's definitely a brotherhood forged through that, and just traveling all throughout the world together. You know, like I can't even tell you how often we'd just be randomly booked on whatever wrestling show, independent show, all across the world, whether it be, you know, Israel, Europe, Mexico, Canada. So, you know, I definitely have a lot, just a wealth of experiences and memories with that guy. And yeah, like you said, man, it's rare. And I will say this to go to what you're saying. I mean, Carly is literally one of the few guys, and there's less than a handful that I stay in touch with in professional wrestling, outside of, you know, just seeing them when I see them, so to speak.
Okay, you know, whenever we do, I don't do that many interviews. I usually do the live reports and things that we do for Lucha Libre Online. So I really wanted to do this interview, not just to plug the card on Puerto Rico, Euphoria, and the fact that you're challenging Intelecto Cinco Estrellas, and that it's already enough of a reason for me to talk to you, but also the fact that I have seen the passion that you bring into the industry right now. There's so many changes in our industry. When I do stuff like this, anybody, like from Triple H to Tony Khan to Dorian, the owner of AAA, or the people from CMLL in Mexico, or guys from Impact Wrestling, they always check it out because I try to be as real as possible. And I'm pro wrestling. I don't use Lucha Libre Online to bury no one. That's not the way I do it. Right now, Carlito is back in WWE. Good relationship with you. Somebody, when we put a picture of you guys, I can't remember who said this, but somebody came out with something that I said, my God, I like that. It had a picture of you and Carlito, and it says Masters of Cool. And I just saw immediately the from the comedy aspect of a vignette, you two crazy guys doing crazy stuff like on the streets and before they were to put you together there. But that was just one of my ideas. But second, do you see yourself if, let's say, a guy like Tony Khan or Triple H or somebody was to approach you, will you be ready to take a full-time contract with this company, AEW, or the new TNA, which was Impact Wrestling. There's so many freaking changes right now, names and everything. Do you see yourself devoted to just one company on a full-time contract, or already set for just doing what you're doing and you're pretty successful at it?
Well, I mean, you know, I worked with Billy Corgan's NWA over the last years. And that was kind of a great opportunity for me to have a platform to kind of evolve. Because as you know, you can't be the same you were 10 years ago, 20 years ago. And like in order to really do that, you kind of need a platform like that. Something you can have some consistency and either do some heel work or some baby face work in programs, kind of like, you know, on a more regular level. So I enjoyed that, but I done with NWA now, and I'm mainly setting my sights into exactly what you're saying, just seeing kind of what's out there in the wrestling world for me. I feel like I definitely have something to offer. I feel like I can work with just about anybody and have a good to great match. And so I'm definitely looking to see what's on the horizon, whether it be, you know, like you said, TNA, AEW, WWE. I'm just very interested, you know, just as much as obviously the indies are cool and everything, but I've spent a lot of time kind of dithering on the indies. And, you know, when I see something like Carlito, for instance, I couldn't be happier for Carlito. I'm very thrilled and excited for him. But, you know, when I see that, I'm also inspired. And I also, there's a part of me that's like, you know, I've got to find my version of that, wherever that's going to be, if it's, you know, WWE, AEW. I mean, if I'm going to continue professional wrestling, I need to capitalize in these years. So that's kind of what I'm saying.
How do you see the work that Triple H, Paul Levesque has been doing since he took over WWE at a tough time with a presumed scandal of Vince McMahon and all of this stuff that went by? How do you see his work, and how is your relationship with him as far as when you were there?
My relationship with him before I left was actually pretty good. I remember in one of my last matches that he had watched, he'd come up to me and actually kind of wring my hands and tell me how to read the actual match, which was pretty cool. You know, he didn't always do that. I think, what was your initial question? Sorry about that.
Excuse me?
What was your initial question on that? It was just
Yes, your relationship with Triple H, and what did you think of his work right now as a head guy in WWE?
It is kind of no surprise to me. Even if you look at my Twitter or X, you'll see that like, when Triple H took over, he did a lot of the things that like, I personally done. One of which was changing Max Dupree to LA Knight, and there were quite a few others. But like, I just looked at it like I knew that once Hunter took over, WWE was going to be better than it's been in a long time, because I think, you know, regardless of how much we love or respect Vince or, you know, his place in professional wrestling, you can kind of tell that the time had come where, you know, Hunter has his finger on the pulse of the wrestling fan, I think much better in 2023/2024 than Vince McMahon did. And also, you know, there was just a lot of, I don't know, you know, WWE wasn't there was a point in time there where WWE wasn't really that cool, but now you look at it and it very much is. They're cooking on all cylinders. So I gotta honestly, just say that this is kind of what I anticipated. You know, it's just great. I mean, they're cooking on all cylinders. I mean, you couldn't get any hotter than they are right now, I don't think.
Okay, and then if Tony Khan, the big guy with the millions and billions, I should say, his family has a lot of money. If he was to call the masterpiece, Chris Adonis, would that be a place that you would be interested in going to if the right deal came up?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I plan on hopefully next time they come to Los Angeles here at the Forum, paying them a visit. So I've obviously got to play some calls through the proper channels, but you know, I don't want to take anything off the table at this point. I mean, really, you know, those are the two main companies in the wrestling world today, and there's a lot of great competitors. And like honestly, when I look at AEW / ROH, there's so many guys that could benefit from working with a guy like me, because there's a lot of guys who can do some great stuff there. But there's also a lot of guys who need help in terms of timing and fundamentals and and all those little kind of things that you develop through years and years of experience. You know what I mean? So I just look at it like I could be a valuable asset for a place like that. I think there's a lot of cool matches that can take place, and I'd like to help however I can. I mean, again, you know what I mean? I don't want to take anything off the table. I've been watching, paying attention to WWE, AEW, and of course even what TNA is doing now.
Okay, this will be a hot question, and you will answer it if you want to or not. We have heard from different personalities talking about the return of CM Punk. You have 20 years of experience. How do you see this, and your opinion on CM Punk being back in WWE? Was it good for business? Is it good for business? And if there was an opportunity of you going back to WWE, will you consider having a wrestling storyline with CM Punk?
Yeah, I think CM Punk going back to WWE, if you look at it, it's easy to look at it now because it's happened and you've seen kind of some of the numbers and stuff. I think it kind of goes without saying that it was a great move. I know there's a lot of people questioning it before, but I think when you look at it now, you kind of realize that, like, whatever the issues were with CM Punk over there, most likely kind of aren't going to happen where he's at now. And that's just because, like, I don't know, I think WWE's just been around so long. They have systems in place, and they're just not, like, that kind of stuff is not going to go down there. I think CM Punk will be a little more inclined to behave himself. And that's obviously no disrespect to AEW, but I just think when you've got a company as established as that, with so many pieces in play, that, it's just, and if there is the same issues, I mean, like, the thing is, if CM Punk did have issues with WWE like he did with AEW, I don't think they would tolerate it, and it would be pretty much kind of his last opportunity. But as far as me working with him, I'm one of the people who kind of falls inside. Like, I personally have never had an issue with CM. If anything, most of my interactions have been good with him, to the point where even a lot of people remember that he cut, kind of a word shoot promo where he was addressing some of the releases in WWE, and he actually took the time in the promo to kind of put me over for how good I had gotten and everything like that. And the reason I even say that is because I knew that it wasn't just like lip service or anything like that. These were the same things he had told me in person at house shows and live events prior to that. So, that's kind of where I fall on the CM Punk thing. I've never been anti-CM Punk. I've always been cool with him, and fallen on that side. And and to go to what you're asking about, I absolutely love to work with CM Punk, because that'd be a lot of money in my pocket too, right?
Yes, very good. We are very blessed in Lucha Libre Online that because of our reputation, we kick ass, we take no prisoners, we love wrestling, and we want all the companies to be successful and all the talents to make a good living. If I was to ask Chris Adonis, the masterpiece, one moment above all in your 20-year really fantastic career, what would you say to our fans watching right now? One moment that you say, man, 20 years, this had to be like my favorite moment. And I know it's hard in our business, but if you're not sure one, give me two. But what would that moment be?
The thing I defer to most, I think, and I'm going to do that here as well, is getting to work. And it's not necessarily a moment as much as a match or program, but it was getting to work with Shawn Michaels and even Ric Flair and those guys in my first year in WWE, just because specifically Shawn was like, he was my guy growing up from when I was like just a little kid, honestly. And so I always kind of say it like this: if you were to go to 10-year-old me, go back in time and tell him that he was going to work a program with Shawn Michaels and work, arguably the best in-ring performer ever on pay-per-view, I wouldn't believe you for the life. There's nothing you could have done to convince me as a kid that would have ever happened. So I always look at that as like it was, and also because of this, Hugo, because when you look at the grand scheme of things, he retired, and a lot of those guys retired just a few years later. So I was very lucky to kind of be able to get on the roster, before before he retired, and a lot of those guys retired, and also to be on the heel side and be able to actually work them, because that's a whole other thing. I mean, there's a lot of my peers that were around my age that, you know, didn't get to work with those guys because they either didn't get the push or, you know, they were just already a baby face and it made no sense. So
yeah, through the years, whenever a promoter, especially independent promoters, I've said, hey, I need a guy that doesn't only have a name with prestige, but that could also work in the ring. I often have said Carlito and you, because you guys are true to that profession. Doesn't matter if you are within 90,000 fans approach or a small arena with 1,000 fans. You guys go there and kick ass. Going back to Euphoria, this 20th of January, Puerto Rico, available through pay-per-view, English and Spanish play-by-play. We have also heard from the legendary Ray Gonzalez, who's meeting the ex-Dolph Ziggler, Nick Nemeth, in that big card also. He has told the champion, Universal Champion Intelecto, Cinco Estrellas, I don't want your championship. I respect you as a champion. But if you lose to the masterpiece, then I will be going for that championship. So in other words, the pressure is on for Intelecto Cinco Estrellas. If you go down to Puerto Rico, the 20th, Euphoria, and you manage to do what the masterpiece has done for 20 years, kick ass and take the gold. The Universal Championship, I always tell the fans, don't believe that it was Vince's creation. We did that Universal title like 1982, when the NWA was the #1 company in the world. Even Vince's father was part of it. We created the NWA champion against the World Wrestling Council champion, and it was the winner to become Universal Champion. Carlos Colon won the championship. So that's a true story on the Universal Championship. If you come down, kick ass, take no prisoners, and you defeat Intelecto Cinco Estrellas, we now know, after what Ray Gonzalez told Intelecto, that he will be going after you if you win the championship. How do you see that?
well, I've already kind of threatened in one of my promos going into this that if I do win the Universal Championship, I might be taking the title back to the mainland and not coming back. So he might have to come to the mainland to get that challenge. But hey, I'm up for all challengers. I mean, I've been held I won the Dungeon Wrestling Stu Hart Heavyweight Championship just a couple months ago. That's traveled with me everywhere. And again, if I win, which I will, it's Universal Heavyweight Championship, I will defend it against all comers, especially him.
All right, so Tony Khan, Triple H, Dorian Roldan, Conan, CMLL, the guy from, what's his name, Diamorti, the big guy in now TNA, New Japan Pro Wrestling, to all the people that are watching, is Chris Masters, is Chris Adonis ready to make the move if the money is right and the contract is right?
Yes, I've been ready for a long time. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm one of the best kept secrets in professional wrestling. And I will tell you this, Hugo, honestly, and I'm shooting here, I think I'm one of probably the most underrated wrestler in the world today. But I'm trying to change that because I don't want that to be my slogan going out. So I just think that, you know, there's a lot of people who have only seen maybe the early years version of Chris Masters, and nothing against any of that. But I mean, again, when you saw me in WWE, I was 3 years into my career. And Hugo, you know better than anybody that in this business, when you're 2, 3, 4 years in, I mean, you have not developed. So like Chris Masters or Chris Adonis is actually what I go by nowadays, is a much different performer. He's polished, he can work with anybody. And so, yeah, I'm ready for anything that could come my way. And I'm hungry and I'm fired up and I'm ready to take it.
All right. I'm also in partnership with GWA in Panama, where you have wrestled, and we are working on a deal to do TV there. So yeah, so hopefully we get the TV deal. We'll be talking to you if Triple H or any of these guys have not talked to you yet. And for all the promoters and people that want to reach you, what is the places where they could find you on the big world of the media world, Facebook, Instagram, and all of that?
Yeah. Okay, so Instagram is where I'm most active. So if you want to DM me or message me there, you can at Chris Masters 310. But you can also contact me via booking at masterpiece83@gmail.com. So Chris Masters 310 on Instagram, email masterpiece83@gmail.com.
All right. So no, doesn't matter where you are around the world. The big date, it's January 20th from Puerto Rico. Big title match, universal title match. Chris Masters, Chris Adonis challenging the second longest reigning universal champion in the history of WWC, Intelecto, Cinco Estrellas. If you want to have a beautiful night of lucha wrestling and with the quality that Masters will bring to the title shot, and X-Top Ziggler, Nick Nemeth, and all the other big stars that are on that card, just check it out, pay-per-view, or if you're in Puerto Rico, that would be a great night. An honor, Chris, to talk to you. I've always respected you, and that's why I solicited Michael Morales, our vice president and president, that I wanted to do this interview with you. It's an honor. Thank you for the 20 years that you have given us so far in wrestling, your attitude, your passion. Thank you for looking out for our guy, Carlito Caribbean Cool. Love the guy, love the family. And thank you for taking your time to talk to our viewers, Lucha Libre Online. This is your house. Whenever you need anything, we're here for you. God bless you, my brother, and good luck on the 20th of January in Puerto Rico. And close the interview with a word for all your aficionados around the world.
I want to just want to thank you, Hugo, for all the kind words and support. I appreciate you recognizing the passion you have for this industry. And again, yes, my passion is through the roof. I love professional wrestling more than anything. And yeah, I'm just going to keep pushing forward, man, starting with Puerto Rico this Saturday. And hopefully 2024 is a beautiful year. And you can see me on one of those programs coming up here in the near future.
La obra maestra, esto se quiere caer en el 20, Puerto Rico, ahí está el campeón, Intelecto 5 estrellas, entra Chris Masters, esto se va a caer, brutal. Love you, my brother, God bless you, take care.
Love you, brother.